Welcome back to Series 3 of the Student Connect podcast. I'm Tiffani.
And I'm Danny, and we're your hosts for today's episode.
This podcast is created in association with Staffordshire University and is hosted by our student content team.
It's a student-led podcast which shares the experiences of students progressing through university education and inviting experts from a variety of life topics.
In this series, we are exploring cultures to grow our understanding and deepen our knowledge about the diverse backgrounds that make up our community.
We want you to help shape the series, so if you'd like to join us as a guest, please email us on comms@staffs.ac.uk or drop @staffsuni a DM on any form of social media.
Along the way, we will endeavour to share our honest stories, sometimes too honest, to help to educate and discover more about other cultures.
It's important to note that there may be some sensitive topics discussed. We feel these are really important to share to help raise awareness for the issues.
So if at any point we do use incorrect terminology, please rest assured that this is part of us educating ourselves and is not intended to cause offence.
And so without further ado, let's get straight into it. So Tiff, how have you been?
I've been alright.
Good.
Enjoying the holidays.
At least one of us is.
Yeah. Doing work here and there, but other than that, trying to have a bit of a rest. What about you? You're busy, aren't you?
Busy. That's one way to describe it. A lot of work. But in my mind, if I get it all done now, I can rest, do whatever I want. Yeah. Well, I'll still have work, but you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Though. It gets the bulk of it done, and it's just easing your way through.
I mean, I've always been like that, like with modules. I just want to get them boxed off, like either a week or like 2 weeks before, so that then I can just either focus on the next one or just do nothing and just relax. But but obviously I've got Indonesia to look forward to soon, which you'll see on our socials soon. I'm really looking forward to that. I've even been learning a little bit of Indonesian.
Can you say anything now?
Briefly.
Go on.
So, bear with, if there are any Indonesians watching, I do apologise if I butcher any pronunciations. So, you ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Saya nama Danny.
Nice.
My name's Danny.
Excellent.
I don't know anything else. I know a phrase because I've been doing it on Duolingo, right? And obviously they teach you like the real basics. And the only phrase that's stuck in my head, and I could pronounce this fast as well. Pronunciate this fast. You ready? Kucing itu hitam dan putih. You know what that means?
No, I don't.
It's completely useless. I'm not going to use it.
Okay.
That cat is black and white. That's ingrained in my brain from Duolingo. I don't know why. Really pointless bit of information for you there.
Do you at least have a black and white cat?
No, don't like cats.
Wait, but if you do see a black and white cat, you can
I can say it.
And then you'll one up.
No, I mean, knowing me, I'll probably forget it when I'm there. But yeah, no, I've been learning that because obviously I went to Madrid and I was thinking, oh yeah, they'll be able to speak English. No one spoke English, and I got shouted at by a Spanish bus driver in Spanish. So I'm trying to embrace other languages because I think it's important.
It's a very good thing to do.
Yeah,
Danny.
I'm proud of that.
You should be proud of yourself.
But no,
Well, I hope the Duolingo goes well.
Well,
don't let that.
What a 5-day streak at the moment, you know what I mean?
Wait.
Whether that streak will continue by the next episode is another thing. But so in this series, we are sharing with you some awesome places in and around Staffordshire as we discover more about cultures and backgrounds from our local community.
And we are celebrating. The Student Connect podcast has turned 2 years old.
2.
And over the 2 years, we've released 3 series, 25 episodes, been shortlisted for an award, had our hosts shortlisted for awards, and interviewed 25 students about their experiences.
We'd really love for you to let us know what you think. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple, please rate us nicely because there's nothing bad to like about this podcast. And if you're watching from YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. That's one thing I did want to ask you, actually, Tiff, during this introduction. What's been your favourite episode, like overall, and what's been your favourite location to visit?
I really liked the Romany episode because it was very like emotional. But then the one we did with you at the sports track was hilarious because doing that little like sprint race was just hilarious.
Obviously. Yeah, that was good.
You left us in the shop.
To be fair, I really liked the one in front of the Spitfire with Naquanda. I love going in that museum anyway, but like that room, like, it's just immense. Like seeing like the Spitfire there and like knowing it's like embedded in like Stoke culture, is that the word? I don't know. Yeah. But like it's a big thing to Stokies, and just seeing it, you're like, this is cool. This is really cool. Then we had a school group came in, but we cracked on, and it made it quite funny as well. But yeah, no, that was good. And then there was one of the episodes, like really the one that I did with Alex. I think it was my first episode, and I listened back to it the other day, and I was like really quiet and just like answered here and there, and like now I don't shut up. So you could tell I've developed over the podcast over the few episodes, but yeah, no, that's been some of my highlights definitely. And it's to two more years of the podcast, and many more to come. Hey.
Today we are at Tradycja Polish food store, situated on Clough Street next to Tesco in Hanley. We will explain more about why we're here shortly when our guest arrives with us today.
We also want to give a massive thank you to the shop for giving us this cake for our birthday. So we want to express a massive thank you for doing that, and also letting us record our podcast in the store. I've never been in here. I've seen it loads of times, but I've never been in here. I know I have. So again, massive thank you to letting us use this space. So today we are joined by Aura. She is a second year computer science student at Staff's Uni. She is a part of the university's Women in STEM Society, speaking to our students at Open Days about her studies, and has been shortlisted as a finalist for Young STEM Personality of the Year at the Inspirational Youth Awards.
Aura moved from Poland to the UK as a child, and after receiving support herself is passionate about helping others to access educational opportunities.
She's from Norfolk in London, and Aura has Polish heritage and will today be speaking to us about Polish culture and what it's like to be a woman in STEM. So without further ado, let's introduce our guest for today's episode.
So Aura, welcome to the podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Aurelia. I'm a second year computer science student at Staff's University. I'm also all the way back from Poland, but I moved here when I was about 6 years old.
Nice, cool. And can you tell us sort of what like the transition from obviously moving from like a different country was to obviously like London, and then like London coming to... Did you study at the Stoke campus?
No, I studied all the way back in Norfolk.
Oh, right, okay. So, but yeah, basically, what's like that transition from like Poland to here? What was that like for you?
It was quite tough, to be honest. Yeah. When I first came here, I knew not a single word of English. I had to lie. I did know one, and it was toilet. My teachers did appreciate that, but I will say that.
It's quite an important word if you think about it. It's quite an important word. It's underrated.
But to be honest, it was quite nice because a lot of people were supportive about teaching me the British language.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
All the terminology. But it's when you move to a certain area, there's different like slang and dialects that you really have to get used to. So it was just kind of getting used to that. But at some point when I got to year 2, I just started whizzing around in that language. So
that's cool. That's cool.
Aurelia, today we are at the Tradycja Polish food store. Can you tell us a bit more about why we're here?
So the Tradycja Polish food store, which actually translates to tradition, is all about bringing Polish culture together. Yeah. It's the one place, or multiple places in certain places, that you can go to kind of get that food, culture and heritage. You've not only got the food aspect of it, but you've also got that welcoming community. When you come in, you immediately can talk in your own language and kind of come together with different people to, I think, in a sense, love the food that's from your own place.
Yeah. It's like a nice sense of community, isn't it?
Yeah,
really
definitely.
Good. Yeah.
And I suppose like when you first come over here, the places like this, it's that element of home.
Yeah, it's really important that we've got places like, I mean, for all cultures and people from like all around the world, it's really good that we've got that. We want to again say thank you to Anna and the team for being able to accommodate us here. Just to note, the shop is currently open, fully running, so there may be some background noise and some shoppers walking past, so yeah, just to let you know.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So can you share a little bit about more so your personal like background and like your upbringing in Poland, sort of like what was that like? Was there anything you've probably noticed that was different to maybe that had happened like the UK, stuff like that?
So I actually grew up in all the way north in Poland, but I actually was born in south. So I had a bit of a move around.
Yeah.
South was more of like a city area, but then I was moved all the way up north, which is more of a village area, which is in Szczecin.
Yeah.
And there was a tiny, tiny little village called Przybielnów.
Yeah.
In the actual village itself, it was very, very small. It was a very tight-knit community.
Yeah.
It really is the saying, it takes a village in that
Yeah.
one, because everyone worked quite together.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It was really cute because you'd walk down the street, everyone absolutely knows each other. But that was a huge shock when I came to England, because you'd walk down the street, you'd say hello, and then they look at you like, why are you saying hello to me?
Yeah.
I don't know you. So it's quite a big difference, because you used to walk around, talk to your neighbours constantly, and some days here you go to your neighbours and they'd be like, who on earth are you? Why are you knocking on my door?
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, it's weird because like sometimes like when I'm in Stoke, it depends what area I'm in. I can walk past someone and be like, "Hi mate, you okay?" And be like, "Hi." Oh, lads. But like if it's like, you know, I'll be like, "Hi, Duck, you okay?" Like, "Hi, yeah, you." But then some people like you just don't speak to them because like sort of like subconsciously choose not to. I don't know. Did you find the same? Because obviously you're from like a bigger city, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like my neighbours as a comparison, I kind of live in like a grove, so it's got its own mini island. So everyone around there does kind of know each other and we'll talk.
Yeah.
But when you're walking through the city centre, you do not talk to anyone unless you know them. Unless you know they're like Nan's uncle.
Yeah.
You don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Like it's.
That's like the same when I'm in Hanley. Like I don't speak to anyone there, but like if I'm like around sort of like where I used to grow up, like in Northwood, or like, you know, areas where some of my family live, and I might know like some few people that live there, I'd say like, you know, hey up Duck, you're 8. But yeah, you face there.
I suppose it's because like the cities, like especially in Birmingham, it's so big, there's so many people. One, you ain't got time to stop and have a chat.
Yeah.
2, you're just trying to like, right, I want to get to where I want to be. I've got no like, you're fighting through the
Was there
crowds.
like people
you're
like
not
in
having
their
a
own
stroll.
world?
Yeah, definitely 100%. Very much head down, walk.
I call that the Londoner walk, because you just head down,
it's
walking,
literally
fast paced, don't look at anyone.
But to be fair, like with like London and like I've seen in like Manchester, I don't know about Birmingham, but like you can just be yourself around there. Whereas like I feel like for someone like in Stoke or like a smaller city or like small towns, because sort of everyone sort of knows everyone, you kind of can't really, because do you know what I mean? Like, whereas like, I feel like in like bigger cities, you can just really express yourself. But then on the flip side, no bugger wants to talk to you. So it's like,
you can literally, no one, I guess that is kind of the beauty of it. There's that many people, you can dress however you want. No one's really going to take any notice. But I am quite envious of the like idea of being able to just kind of speak to everyone and know everyone. So I guess like there's pros and cons to both aspects, I guess.
So getting back onto topic, what was kind of like your family like during your upbringing? I mean, I assume it's like really close knit, as you said, with like the neighbour. How like impactful were like your family, and how impactful are they now still?
So back in Poland, I was obviously born down south, but I got moved up north because obviously my parents had moved to England, so I had to be passed around for different aunties. But the aunties themselves, they were very, very close knit. It was a very loving family. Everyone like knew each other. They talked to each other. In Poland, actually, so you guys here, we call great aunts and great uncles great aunts and great uncles. But in Poland, everyone's just auntie and uncle. Whether it's your neighbour, it's your friend, anything like that, just call everyone uncle and auntie. So everyone's kind of close knit together because you see each other as family in that sort of sense.
Is it like a respect thing as well?
It kind
like
of
they're
is,
your elders,
So if your mum has a friend and the friend's quite close to you, then you kind of call her aunt and you see her as your aunt as well. And you call her daughter like a cousin or something like that.
That's sort of similar here, isn't it? Because like I know for like it's like my dad, his best mate's my uncle, but he has got no blood relation, like at all. Like, he's got a completely different last name, you know what I mean? But throughout my like entire childhood, he'd be uncle, you know, like you know what I mean. And same with like obviously like my mum, like her friends would be auntie, like, or uncle, you know. So it's quite cool how it's in a completely different place, but it's still the same sort of like socialisation, I suppose, that goes on.
I suppose over here it's not as normalised though. Like some do, some don't. Like even with my brother, I'll call like my mum's friends auntie, uncle, but then he won't. Even though we've got the same relation.
It depends on the person. So you are studying computer science. Computer science. I didn't forget. Can you tell us sort of, I suppose, why, but also like what's that been like at Staffs? Has it been It's been good. I hope it's been good.
And was there a specific reason why you did it at Stocks out of all the other places you could have done it?
So I've always been kind of obsessed with technology. Even when I was young, I was kind of fiddling around with everything, breaking it to the dismay of my parents. I'm trying to put it back together.
Yeah.
So I've always had that little aspect of wanting to fix stuff and make new stuff, engineer it in a kind of sense.
Yeah.
But I've always been more towards the digital side, mainly because I am the generation that grew up with all of these things. I remember my first BlackBerry, my first Samsung, my first everything. Like I grew up with every single stage. I went from using tapes, like VHS tapes, to CDs, to DVDs, to Blu-ray. That was a wonder for me. All of a sudden my Xbox 360 playing around, and now I've got a PS5. So it's like the change has been
and
insane.
then streaming services as well. Yeah,
that's crazy when you think about it, isn't it?
We've
like,
been through
how
all
we,
of
like,
it.
literally to like sort of. I mean, like VHS were around for quite a while, and then we've been through quick transitions in terms of like technology. It's mental when you think about it for like our age group. Because I don't know, I had a VHS player. I bloody loved
Still got
it.
one.
And the TV, remember TVs used to have a VHS player?
Yeah, still got one.
Oh yeah, I had a Spider-Man TV. I did. Oh, it was meant. Proper box TV, right? But VHS, those are the days. Bring them back. Those are the days.
I can see with the Spider-Man TV.
I was like 8, not now, obviously, not at the grand age of 21, but you know, it was cool.
And with that, I kind of found that technology was always kind of the thing I went with. So I started doing it at GCSEs, and I decided, you know what, I really like this. I'm going to stick with it. It might just be my future. Because, to be honest, technology is the future. Yeah. So why not go with that flow?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden at A-level, I found that my class, which initially was 30 people together, only 2 of which were girls, which was awful, had decreased to just me.
Yeah.
So in a class of like 30, I was the only person at A-level, and I come to uni, and it's pretty much 3 girls out of 200 students. So it just continues.
Yeah.
That motivated me kind of more to get into it, because you don't see a lot of women in STEM, especially technology. Oh my gosh, you always see these male engineers, but if you look at the statistics of like women behind tech, it's very little. Yeah. They always put them up and plaque them on posters, but if you actually look into it, there's very few. To be honest, I don't think I had any role models growing up that were actually female in technology. I had engineers, I had Ada Lovelace, but I didn't find out about her until I was pretty much at uni, to be honest. But that kind of...
Sorry to put in. Well, I was going to say, like, but it's good that you've identified that, and now, like, you're becoming that role model for like young girls that want to get into STEM, and like with obviously your nomination for the Young STEM Personality, which I've got to say congratulations for.
Well done.
Like even stuff like that, when like young girls see that, they'll say, I can do that because she has, and like you should take real pride in that, and should be something you're really proud of.
Definitely.
But, it's crazy that you said 3 out of 200 students, because like obviously that mean like sport context, like there's I'd say probably about 60% male, 40% female, but like I wouldn't be able to comprehend like 3 girls out of 200 males. Like, I'd find that baffling.
Does it feel a bit lonely at times?
It quite does, because honestly throughout my whole experience I've always kind of had male friends only because of the fact that there was so few women. So you kind of hang out with the lads, you become part of that gang. But again, it does feel very your femininity kind of feels like it's decreasing because you're not spending enough time with your own sort of community and like the female part. But it does mean that the girls that you do meet in computing, you make a really close knot like that.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. So like, if there's only a few of you that are like women, are you close knit like on your course?
Everyone knows each other's names.
Yeah, excellent.
You point each other down the street, go hey.
That's girlhood right there. I rate that.
Yeah.
But I kind of chose Stanford University because compared to other universities, they're all textbook based. So you sit down, you look at the theory, you read it, you go, cool, here's some outdated facts from 30 years ago about, I don't know, RAM and CPUs. But with staffs, I can get behind that equipment, actually play around with it. That's the thing I found. It's such a technical university. So I've actually been working towards, my next week I've got my example Linux Essentials, which is you play around with the Linux system, file system, learn all of that. For networking, I actually get to plug into routers and switches, play around with security. For cybersecurity, I can actually hack into stuff, which I shouldn't sometimes, but They let me. It's in the virtual
There
machine.
is
It's
permission
fine.
there.
Yes, there is permission. But other universities wouldn't let you do that. They wouldn't have you access those licenses and those actual equipment that's quite expensive for them. So it is quite positive to come to Staffordshire University because you get that support, especially if you're a girl. I will say that. But you also get the equipment that you actually need to succeed alongside the licenses. I work towards certifications myself. Not a lot of unis do that. So I've worked towards Next Essentials, that's one of I said before. We've got AWS Practitioner, which I do for cloud computing. Another one will also be VMware. They have IT Academy, and I've not seen any single uni that provides us with that.
Yeah, wow.
That's amazing.
Is that the same with you, Tiff, with like the filming equipment?
Yeah, a lot of unis do have the equipment, but I would say that when I was looking at different unis, even though I had to look at it online because of COVID, but we moved past that, it was very much, they had the equipment, but not necessarily like the facilities. So like the big two I would say at Staffs is the TV studio, which a lot of unis don't have, and now like Staffs have the virtual production suite, which is the very like new industry standard piece. I don't think any other uni has that. And so like I'm still unsure. I don't think I'm coming here for a master's next year, but one of my thinkings was, oh my god, that I'm going to miss out on that training that I'd get if I did do the masters.
And you might miss out on the discount.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole 25% discount.
But the one good thing is, once my courses end and I'm still enrolled as a student, the equipment's still there. So technically, I can ask to get trained on it before I leave still. So same with you. The facilities and the equipment here is so good. What about the sports side?
So you won't think it really with the sports because we just kick balls all day. That's what someone said to me the other day. Because I'm a sports student, just kick balls all day. So we have... that's what I get. You just watch films all day. I wish. So we have what's called a Vicon system, which is used in biomechanics. Essentially, you know how like motion capturing, like video games, stuff like that. You have like tiny little dots on and you have all these cameras around. Each camera is worth... Mark's going to hate me because I forgot. I think it's between like 8 and 12 grand each. There's 20 cameras. So I'm pretty sure he said it's like nearly $250,000 on just these cameras and just like... Uni students, go ahead, use it.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I mean, to be fair, like, you have to be really careful on the cameras because they're expensive to fix, and I don't have a spare, 10 grand to fix it. But, like, it's good that you get that exposure, and it's good that, like, film, computer science. Mine keeps going blank, I do apologise. You get to experience what you're actually going to be doing. So, speaking of what we're going to be doing, what's sort of your career aspects or career goals?
So not many people know about this one, but I'm actually going towards cloud security. So I want to be a cloud security architect. For those of you who probably don't know this one, which is a lot of people sadly, it's kind of the aspect of using the internet and learning resources online. So it's anything that's on demand. For example, if you think of Netflix, if you think of Amazon, all of that's hosted online, but it's not technically online. It's actually hosted in a data center somewhere else. So it's kind of like on-demand resources, and I want to be able to secure those because obviously if someone's holding your data, for example, Amazon or Netflix, you don't want that to be leaked. No. So I want to be the one behind that, engineering that.
That's a very important job. Full credit, because that is a very, very important job, I must say.
So that like includes like social media and stuff, does it?
In a sense, yes. Anything that can be hosted online within the cloud is considered part of that.
That's it, and like, I know you keep saying that like technology is the future, so getting a job in that is really important, but especially with all of like the stories that have been coming out about like more specifically social media and like data leaks and everything, that's a very important like aspect. So I think it's great that you're going into that side of things.
And thank you, I suppose, because
thank you.
Don't thank me yet.
But no, it's good that you're pushing for that. As you like Polish sort of like background, maybe like influence that a little bit.
Honestly, I've not seen a lot of women in technology specifically from Poland, so that's kind of motivated me a little bit more because I see, there's no women, there's even less underrepresented backgrounds, for example, different minorities. There's none from Poland that I can see myself, but it's also that aspect of Polish education. There's a really, really big push on it. So even if you go to Poland, all your grandmas and aunties will be like, study, put your head down, teach yourself. That's like the most important thing for them. So it's always been that push of, you can do this, you can go uni, you can do anything, especially with like the changing times. Yeah,
that's good. That's good that they've been like supportive to like pursue what career you want to go into. Was there ever, because obviously you mentioned like a lack of like women in STEM, but like Polish women in STEM, was there ever like any concern from like your family saying like, oh well, there's never been like a Polish woman instead? Has that ever been like the case, or has it always just been, you know, you be the first like to do that and really push for that? Is that, I don't know I hope that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. In that sense, it's always been it's seen kind of more like a male role.
Yeah.
But they don't say it outwardly. They just kind of go, oh, technology, like engineering. And go, yeah, exactly like that. And they kind of see it as, because you've always had those stereotypes of women have to be domestic, women have to do this. And then I'm like, as a kid, I want to be a technologist. I'm going to build cars and engines and do this and do that. And they're like, go for it, go ahead. But there's always been that sense of, is that something you want to do as a woman?
Yeah. So like they don't mean to like sort of reinforce it, but like they subtly do, and like you clearly like picked up on it.
They go, computer science?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I mean, if you want to go for it, go ahead. But as a girl, it's a lot different with lots of families, so it kind of depends. With the older generations, they kind of look at it, go, but with the new ones, they kind of go, yeah, do whatever you want.
That acceptance, that's good.
It's good to hear that, like, because obviously you are going to have like family members and old generations that are a bit more like, are you sure? And then obviously it's good that it's getting better and you've got that support there. But what about the support from, say, like, I mean, it might be a bit touchy, but like throughout education, when you've been doing these subjects and these classes, have you ever found that kind of, because I'm in a similar situation in my course though, because it's film, there's only like, we're a small group anyway, but there's more guys than girls. And sometimes like throughout GCSEs, A-levels and now this, it can be a bit frustrating at times, because like it feels like you're dismissed a little bit.
It does.
Like kind of, I feel like I'm not listened to as much by my peers, more than anyone higher up. It's the peers. Like, how do you kind of deal with that?
Honestly, sometimes you're in class and a lot of the boys will kind of raise their hand and nod along and go, yeah, I completely get that. Or they'll ask crazy questions that just make me go, what on earth? To kind of like show you up. It's not always the case, it's mostly the case sometimes, but a lot of those times I'll go out the back of class and then the kids will walk out and they go, I completely didn't understand that. And then you feel like you're in the same boat, because they'll be nodding along and they go, yeah, completely understand the AWS security, totally. And they'll walk out and go, I don't understand any of that. So it's kind of like to show that they seem more prideful than they actually are, but then you look behind and you actually do the work behind, and your teacher's like, well, even though you say it as it is, I don't get this, I don't get that, you're kind of doing more work. But it's always been, if you're a woman in STEM, you do have to do a bit more work, especially in technology, because from a young age I didn't have a PC until I came to uni actually, so I couldn't program properly. I had to do it on the school PCs that I had in high school and primary school, stuff like that, but you know, those are quite restricted. So it's always kind of been that lack of technology that I've had that kind of pushed me back. So some of these kids have been doing programming since they were about 10, because they've had access, they've had these gaming PCs decked out with all these items and gears, able to play around with VirtualBox, cybersecurity. And I came to uni and I'm like, damn, I didn't have any of that.
So did that like motivate you to like want to like do better even more though? Because obviously, you know, they've had like that sort of what's the word, like experience, exposure to it already, whereas obviously, like you say yourself, you didn't really have that. But did that like motivate you to say, well, even though I didn't, I'm still going to? Like, was that the case?
It kind of was, I'm quite competitive when it comes to stuff like that, so my saying is, someone can do it, you can do it as well. So definitely. No matter what, you should always try and go ahead for it.
That's cool. Good. It's a good mindset to have as well.
So what are some of your earliest memories of Polish culture before you moved to the UK?
So before I moved to the UK, when I actually used to live in Poland, a lot of the stuff that we used to do was kind of community-based. So Poland is quite religious, they're Roman Catholic. So a lot of the stuff would be like church-based, community events. There's lots of fundraising actually, so you do lots of fundraisers and festivals. But again, one of the major ones was the celebrations and holidays. So for example, for Easter, everyone would come together, you'd get eggs, you put wax on them and you dye them different colours. So certain countries, for example, a lot of Eastern European use it with different wax. If you're kind of boring and don't have the time for that, you can put like red onion and dye it brown, so it ends up being like a dark red colour, and you take that to church and you have to get it blessed, and then you do family meals. That's why food is like a huge part of Polish culture, because after every event you eat. You do like a huge barbecue, bring everyone on, especially for Christmas. For Christmas we call it Vigilia. You're meant to eat 12 different meals, which represents the 12 different apostles.
Really?
So it's a huge event. You've got snacks, everything. By the end of the night, you can't breathe.
12 meals, like...
Wait, in one day?
In one day?
In one day.
No.
And it's only meant to be when the first star in the sky starts. So when you can actually see that. So you have to like quickly stuff it in. They only make it smaller portions to obviously fit with that. Some people nowadays, if they're lazy, will just make 3 or 4 meals, but you're meant to make 12.
I can't even get through the long Christmas dinner on Christmas Day.
Yeah, also, what's like the food like? Is it nice? Is it good? What do you recommend? I'm intrigued. 12 meals.
So if you've got the 12 meals, the first meal that I normally start off with is barsh, which is kind of like a beetroot soup. With that you've got meat dumplings that you kind of put in there. After that you might have stuff like pierogi, which is another type of dumpling, funnily enough. You can have different fillings. My favourite is strawberry, but that's not a fan favourite.
Strawberry dumpling?
Yes, it's amazing. You can also have Russian ones. They're not actually Russian, which is funny enough. That's just what they're called. They've got potatoes in there. A fan favourite is normally the cabbage ones. They've got mushrooms in there as well, and they're amazing. And krokiety, amazing. It's like a pancake, but it's fried, and it's got cabbage and mushrooms inside, and it's the best thing ever.
That sounds interesting.
It sounds good, yeah. Making me hungry now. So, when you first arrived in the UK, were there any significant like cultural differences that stood out to you, or like things that you saw that were like, I would not see that sort of like back home in Poland? Was there any like instances like that?
There was quite a few, like I said earlier, when it came to actually talking to people. In Poland, when you reach like a little village, everyone knows each other, so you walk around and you say, hi, hello, how's your day? But here you kind of like put your head down and walk straight on, which is kind of confusing for me at the start. It was also like the language and slang and the food, so vastly different. In Poland, when you have like breakfast, you have an array of stuff on the table, which you choose from, and you kind of pick and mix. And here it's like an English breakfast. What really shocked me was the chippies. I was like, what on earth? At the same time, I was like, this is amazing, but I've never seen anything like it before.
Oh, wow.
Do you like a chippy, Tiff?
Yeah.
Chippy, What'd you get from a chippy?
It depends. One day it'll be fish and chips, the next it will be like kebab and naan. It depends on...
It depends on...
No, I don't like battered sausage.
What?
No. I like a fish cake. I like a scallop as well.
Disappointing.
But I don't think Stokies call them scallops, do you?
What? Scallop.
The potato in batter. No? Yep. Okay, that's a grummy thing.
Oh, fritter.
A fritter?
Oh, yeah. I know what that is. Yeah, I didn't know they called that. Yeah, fritter, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we call them scallops.
I don't have them, but yeah.
Yeah, but what I get from the chippy depends on which chippy I'm going to ultimately. What about you?
It's a shame they closed the one down here.
Did they?
Which
one? The one next to university on the
Oh,
Stoke-on-Trent.
yes. Was it?
I've only ever been there once, but that's shut now.
Unichip, that's it. Yeah.
It's like a $5 for like a full-on fish and chips. I think it's a bubble tea store now.
Yeah, Tiff, it's immense.
I'll go and get bubble tea. I love that as well. What are you two? What are your?
I'm not a big fan of chippy.
It used to be a uni shop, but now I've got to find a brand new one.
Have you ever tried an oatcake?
Oh, Staffordshire oatcakes are amazing.
You try an oatcake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You prefer them savoury or do you prefer them like sweet?
Savoury.
Sweet? Huh? On an oatcake?
Yeah. You can put like chocolate on it. It tastes nice.
I feel like this. It's not happy.
Have you only had them savoury? What's your favourite go-to then for the savoury part? You try it.
Bacon and sausage with cheese.
What about egg and beans? I like on that one.
Beans.
Yeah.
Beans on an oat. Beans.
Yeah, they taste amazing.
I mean, I like beans, but I won't put them. But there's all the juice and the go everywhere.
If you put cheese on it, it melts it nice down.
I normally get cheese and bacon, but I want to hear about these like sweet ones. What do you have on it if you have a sweet one?
Well, I kind of just got them to try and I put chocolate and I was like, yeah, it tastes like normal pancakes. I kind of like that. But it's got that like oat cake background flavour. It's quite unique. Not sure if I'm meant to do that. I'm sorry for any viewers out there who absolutely hate this idea.
I don't think it's the viewers we've got to worry about.
We need medical assistance in a minute, crikey. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Wow. I'm not judging it. They're great cakes.
I might try that though.
It has actually tempted me because I've never thought to do that.
Chocolate strawberry oatcake.
Oh, was it nice?
It was nice.
Was it nice? Okay. Well, yeah, I suppose it's just like a normal pancake, isn't it?
Video idea for you.
Yeah,
Try and sweet oatcake.
Won't be able to show my face round here again. Crikey. Right. Back onto topic, less about food. Do you find yourself using Polish like in your day-to-day, sort of like when you meet friends, or like in your like day-to-day life? Like, do you still like what's the word, like not speak Polish? You don't speak Polish, but like, do you still use it frequently?
Honestly, ever since I came to England, just because I've got more friends here that are kind of British, I use English a lot more, mainly because my education here was obviously English. I never actually went to Polish school, but I taught myself how to read and write, and there's a GCSE in it as well, which 8, you have to go.
Damn, 8,
I mean, seeming as I didn't go to British schools, I find that quite impressive. But I do tend to speak it more with my family. So when it comes to like my mum, say my neighbours, if I've got Polish neighbours, obviously everyone knows each other if they're Polish. So you kind of talk to them, they speak with you, and it is a lot of like at work when you meet each other Polish people, you go, "Are you Polish?" And they go, "Yeah," and it's just immediately switch to that Polish language. So it is about like who you meet and how often you do meet with them and talk with them.
Have any of your friends or peers over here learnt any Polish to try and like communicate with you? Yeah.
They absolutely have, but again, I do talk a bit more English, mainly because I was raised way longer here in England. But they will ask for like certain words and try to learn different languages. It is quite fun.
That's pretty cool.
They love Polish food. They always come over to try and eat some.
I love that.
Oh, one question I've got. This has always baffled me when you're bilingual, you can like speak different languages. You know when I might word this. When you think, do you think in Polish or English?
Good question.
Depends.
I don't mean that in like I don't mean it in like a condescending way. It generally baffles my head.
You can think in both. So if someone talks to me in Polish, I'll immediately switch to thinking in Polish because it's automatic. But if someone's talking to me in English, I'll switch to speaking in English. But you don't realise that switch because you're kind of fluent in both. It's really strange because sometimes if two people talk to you at the same time, for example, if I'm at work and one of the chefs who can't speak English talking to me in Polish, and then the manager's talking to me in English, I actually say the wrong language to both of them. I'll be like talking to the Polish person in English and the other person in Polish because you don't realise that switch. It's just there.
So do you not like really like? So like I say, you don't think about it like I'm going to think of this in like Polish. You know, it just comes naturally.
It just comes up.
That's crazy. I can't comprehend that. I can't comprehend that. That's crazy. That's so cool though. Mental. What are some Polish traditions that you and your family continue to celebrate in the UK?
I would say the Easter one, where we actually like dye the eggs and we bring them to the church to bless them and have a lovely meal after. The Christmas one, so there's a silly little Christmas one that we do where you're actually meant to put an extra plate out. So it kind of represents like a dear family member or the ghost. We call them like religious terms. We tend to do it in terms of like a family member we've lost in the past. So we just put an extra plate out and we just leave it there to like kind of represent that you love them and they're with you. So you eat your meal and there's that extra plate with that extra chair sitting there, which is kind of cute and I really like that.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And are there any active Polish communities or events in your area of the UK and have these influenced your experiences?
There are quite a couple back in London. I'm not sure about here in Stoke because I haven't been long enough to know. But in London we do a couple festivals every year. So we've got, I think coming up now, we've got one called Majówka, which is like the May celebration. So they dress up in traditional clothing, they kind of dance around. A lot of these tend to be charity based. So we kind of do it to help children in need and stuff like that. So famous Polish artists, bands, dancers will all come together to this little cute festival with little cute rides. And they'll kind of help out the community and it's really cute to get everyone together.
Sounds lovely.
That's cool. So going back to how sort of like the dual identity of like speaking English, speaking Polish, have you ever sort of experienced any like challenges or have you found any benefits from like obviously being able to speak Polish and English? Have you ever, like, is there any challenges, any benefits from that?
A huge challenge I would say is because you speak two languages, you forget the same word in both sometimes, which is really funny. So let's say I'm speaking Polish and I'm trying to get a sentence out and I'll forget what the single word is and I'll switch to English. But then someone who's Polish will be like, what are you trying to say? What's going on?
Yeah.
Because you've got that duality in sense, like I think in both languages,
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference. And they'd look at me strange and I go, oh, I just spoken another language, didn't I? And they go, yeah, you did. But the worst is when you forget in both. Because you're just trying to sign language it out and try, this is it. Let's say you've got the word for cash. I'm like, money. And they go,
and
no, we don't get it.
Cool. So, have you ever encountered any sort of stereotypes from other people about Polish people since moving to the UK? And if you have, how have you responded to that?
So one of the main Polish stereotypes is that Polish people are rude because we don't smile a lot. So when you're walking down the street, Polish people smile like this. But that's just because the natural resting face is kind of more like downturned. That's the natural feature. But again, we don't tend to show it on our face as much. Whereas if you walk down the street, you kind of smile at someone, you go, hi. Or you do that little smile cool. Yeah, when you open the door and you go,
I cringe every time I do it. I'm like, oh.
But in Poland, you don't really do that. You just say hi or hey, and you just have that natural tone face. So people perceive it here as being very rude.
Yeah.
But in Poland, it's more of your actions that you show and the stuff you do. So they might seem rude to you, but you don't know what they're thinking about and what they're doing. A lot of people that have met that Polish are just the kindest people ever.
Yeah.
They might seem rude, but then they'll bring you a huge cake that they've cooked for you the next day, and you're like, oh, I thought you didn't like me. No, I love you. A lot of conversation I do have at work, because I do work in hospitality, and there's a lot of Polish people who do work in there. You'll find a lot of the managers are talking and they say, oh, this person's so rude, he definitely hates me. I'm like, no, he talks to me about you and he says he absolutely loves you. It's like, oh, but he doesn't show it on his face. I'm like, that's just a normal thing for us. With stereotypes like that, when you say that certain people are rude or not quite nice to you, you got to look behind the cultural significance of it. In a country where you've got different kind of things that you do, for example, here you go, hey up, duck, stuff like that.
Yeah, there you go, nailed it, absolutely nailed it.
Remember, if you don't do that, just say hey and you just walk by, but it's just the fact that you've acknowledged them, you don't have to do that little smile.
Yeah.
And it's very very straightforward. So if you have something to say, you say it, which can be perceived as rude in different countries, but you have to look at what they've been taught and their generation, which changes all around the world.
Rather than just jump into them assumptions in a way. So would you say that that sort of still happens? I take it still happens now, what you just said about the manager side. What's how can I word it? Do you find it sort of upsetting that it still happens now and people haven't still realised in a way not to just jump to them assumptions?
It's not their fault because again, if you go to another country, everyone's going to have different cultures, different ways that they do stuff. But you have to look behind that facade that's just kind of that still face. And you have to see, oh, why do they do that? Talk to them actually it's less gestures and it's more of what you actually do. So if you say to someone, you go, hey, I absolutely love you, but they'll have this straight face while they say it. And you're like, do you actually? Yes, we do. It's just the way you've been raised is kind of different. But that's all around the world. For example, if I go to Poland and I'm all nice to everyone, extremely nice and really, really smiling, they'll go, what on earth is she doing? Because it seems fake to them because they've been raised a certain different way. So you kind of say it. You don't super duper express it. But it's different for every culture and it's different for every country. But as long as everyone's educated on the different circumstances and the different things that different cultures do, then it kind of makes more sense. For example, certain cultures, they might say yes or no differently. I know, maybe it's in India, they do the head,
Yeah, I know what you're on about,
So when they're talking to you and they agree, they do that, which I found absolutely so cute and amazing. But certain cultures don't do that, so they'll understand why you're doing that. But it's different for everyone, and it's just absolutely amazing to learn about it.
But it's good, like on this podcast, we've learned a load there, and obviously from all the other people that we've had on, we're probably educating so many people, and I hope people do take things away from it and sort of do change the perspective because there's a lot of not nice things in the world, and to embrace cultures and just be nice to people, that costs nothing.
It's the smallest of changes.
Literally.
That's all it's needed, and then they all add up.
If you learn about it, it's amazing. I think I was watching a TikTok the other day about the Inuit cultures. When they agree, they go like this, and it's so cute. It's these little facial expressions.
Oh, cool.
So one of the most common ones is obviously dzień dobry, which means good day. It's kind of fancy and posh, but it's like a regular greeting for us. So if you walk by a street, you say dzień dobry, which is kind of less of hello. It's more like a greeting of saying, I'm here, I recognise you, I see you, in a sense.
Yeah.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
Yeah, pretty much.
They get it all right? Oh, yes, get it.
Might be up to saying a Polish surname next.
Ooh. See, that's the thing, because that's another thing I wanted to ask as well. So, because obviously, like, I'm massively into my football. You might know where I'm going with this.
Is it Lewandowski?
Yeah, like, why is it? Oh, not why, but like, why is it so common for like the names that end in SKI? Like, because obviously, like, there's Lewandowski, and then like, there's another footballer called Blazikowski, and I was like, I used to love him. I used to follow his career. Yeah.
Is kind of like a male ending. So if you're a man, your name will end in ski. If you're a female, it normally ends with ska. So when you actually marry someone in the culture who's Polish, and if their surname ends with ski, you'll change yours to ska. For example, if Lewandowski has a wife, she'll be Lewandowska, which might seem to people like they're not married because it's got different abbreviations.
Oh, I thought it'd be the same. Oh, right.
So is the last name actually the letters before the end?
So the ska, ski, it's kind of like the gender pronouns in a sense.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, right.
So it's like French is la and
Latin la.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've
always wanted to ask that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for answering that. 'Cause now I know. But yeah, because I've like so many like Polish footballers will have like ski at the end, and I'm like, why? But that makes total sense now. So like it's more the part before the ski or scat. That's
the
like the last
surname.
name,
and then the ending just tells you kind of like their gender in a sense.
Oh, okay.
It's just a nice tradition, but it's automatically
It's a
done
good
in
tradition. I
hospitals.
like. I like
That's
it.
really
Cool.
cool.
Yeah.
So if we take a look at the flip side now, we've spoken about Polish traditions and that sort of thing, but are there any kind of British traditions that you've adopted since being here?
So I cannot go a single day without eating an English breakfast. I absolutely love them. My favourite part of it, I would say, is the sausages. They're just amazing.
Can't
They're
go
so
wrong.
different to
So
Polish
universal.
sausages.
Oh yeah. Well, what is the difference? Because obviously, like, I'm used to like what are they called, like Lincolnshire, Cumberland. Like them ones, but like, is there actually? Would you say like a big difference, or like not
There's
much
a
difference at all?
huge
Really,
difference. The way Polish sausages are made is very, very different. You've got different types. Whereas the ones I see in Britain is mainly the ones I see in like English breakfast and the breakfast types.
Yeah.
Which is like nothing like the ones I'm used to. The ones I'm used to are quite very fatty, and some of them are cured and salted. There's so many varieties.
Main question is, which ones are better? Be honest.
I would have to say the Polish ones. Just because there is so many
I never tried it though. Should I try it? I'll try it.
Do you like a cup of tea?
Oh, yes. But I have to have a like normal English breakfast tea after like the second time, because I find the first time you do it, it's so strong, like it's so bitter. So I have to
Really?
Yeah. You can't leave it too long. You have to take it out so quick. Whereas with Polish teas, you like leave it in and you just sip like that. With English ones, I have to take the tea bag out immediately because I'm like, it's got a bitter taste in there.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never noticed it being bitter. Would you?
No,
Because you guys have it with milk.
Oh yeah, true.
Do you not have it with milk?
I don't like it with milk. I feel like
fair enough then.
Oh no, I can't. Okay, I agree with you. I can't stand milk without. Oh no, can't stand tea without milk.
I used to drink it without milk when I was younger, and like, because that's what my nan used to have, so I'd be fine with that, and she'd have it quite weak. But then I went off that completely. But I didn't like tea with milk. Turns out it's not that I didn't like it with milk. I don't like it with sugar.
Oh really?
But whenever I tried a milky tea, it was always my auntie's I was drinking, and she has sugar.
No way. See, I love the sugar because in fact I put too much sugar in, so it's just a really, really sweet hot drink, and I don't actually taste any of the tea or milk.
So
that's crazy.
I have to have milk, no sugar. And the first time I tried that, I was like, oh my god. And now I'm like,
to be honest, the milk is like kind of sweet, so it just mellows it out anyway.
What like you got to get the like? Are we talking like a tiny dash or like half and half? Half tea, half milk.
Just so there's a nice kind of like glaze, like maybe a tad bit more. I don't know how to describe it. You know when you put the milk
hard about
in
a colour chart, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, you do the milk and then it starts kind of diffusing in a way, like spreading out.
So just like a little
That
bit.
sounds great.
I have that image in my head.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there.
Yeah. See, I've tried to get into coffee. I'd love to have coffee because like the caffeine benefits. I'll just like wakes you up, but I can't stand it. I've had it with milk, I've had it cold, I've had it with ice, I've had it with sugar, I've had it without sugar, I've had it with, I don't know, you name it, I've had it with, and I can't stand it.
I can only have it iced with syrup.
Yes.
Syrup?
See, if you don't like coffee, if you want caffeine, have you tried matcha tea?
No, I haven't.
Matcha tea's like got the same, I think even more caffeine than regular coffee, but it tastes more like green tea.
Oh, okay.
So you just shake it up, you can have it with milk or water.
What was that,
matcha tea, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a Japanese green tea, it's really nice.
There you go. Well, I'm trying after.
Polish sausages and matcha.
Polish sausages and matcha tea.
That's your tea.
Damn right, there we go. So, bringing it back to you, do you see yourself living in the UK long term, or do you plan to return to Poland for maybe like a brief period and then come back to the UK? What sort of like you're planning that sort of aspect?
I'd say I'd definitely stay more in the UK, just because I was raised way more here and I'm more into the culture here.
Yeah.
I feel like even when I go back on holiday to Poland, there's also like that feeling of not belonging, because you've been raised here your whole life, you've got that language, you've got that culture, you've got that slang in you as well, and you sometimes forget certain words in your own country, so you go there and you'll ask for certain things and they'll look at you and go, what? Like, why have you asked that? Are you not Polish? I'm like, I am, but I haven't lived here for so long, so it would be having to like get back into those things that like in your country are common but not as common here. For example, I went to Poland on holiday about a year ago, and I asked for like cutlet, which is kind of like in a sense, a type of meat that's like beaten out, it's got batter, and then you eat it, and it's normally like a schnitzel in that sort of sense. And you can either have it normally chicken, or I think it's pork. Right? And I asked her, which one is it? And she goes, does it matter? Because like, they don't care. They go, do you not know what it is? Like, come on. You're Polish. I'm like, I know, but I haven't been here for so long. So it's that sense of belonging.
Have you felt like you've been like accepted, being like living in the UK, telling people that obviously like you're Polish, like the Polish culture is something that important to you? Would you say that like people like in and around the UK, or like people that you've spoken to here, have been like acceptive of that?
I guess because I've got the British accent, or rather the Londoner accent, they kind of don't see me as Polish anymore, unless I physically tell them. People that I meet kind of assume that I'm British, but it is that sense of belonging, because as soon as you see my passport, you go, oh, you're Polish, you're not actually British. And they'll say that to me here, but then I go to Poland, they go, yeah, but I don't see you as Polish, I see you as British, because you've been raised over there, and you don't have my kind of sense of identity. So it is kind of a belonging of, where do I belong?
Can that be quite frustrating at times?
It definitely can.
So, would you mind telling us about any sort of like Polish communities that you're a part of?
So I'm not a part of a lot of communities myself here in Poland, because I just moved to Stoke quite recently, about only a year ago. But I found a lot of communities do happen at like work and hospitality. You'll find a lot of Polish people there, and they kind of just bundle together happily, and they'll be so happy to express their culture with you. But a lot of communities here that come to the UK are quite church-based. So you'll find a lot of them are like Christians, and they go to mass together, they go to little activities. As you might see on the lecture board there, you've got community wall information, so you'll find different stuff like Polish schools. That's quite a common one. Everyone goes to those on like the weekends, and they talk around together.
To learn
to learn the language. You can actually even do examinations if you want to go back to Poland and learn all of that. We do a lot of those stuff, which is quite community based, which is absolutely amazing.
That's really cool. That's good to know. Nice.
And is there anywhere that people can learn more about Polish culture if they'd like to?
Honestly, the best place to learn is the people around you. So if you go meet with a Polish person, or you see a Polish person, you go, hey, can you introduce me to this? They'd be more than happy to. Even if I have a Polish neighbour, go, hey, I really want to try this. I go, oh, heck yeah. And the next day they'll bring you a whole tray of food.
That's
or like,
cool,
I work with Polish people, and they always like bring their food in. They're so happy to share. Food is a huge part of the culture. So if you just ask, they will bring you a whole tray of food. And if you're a guest in their house, you can't say no. You will be fine.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's good that they're very accepting. That's good.
Yeah. And on that note, it's time for some birthday cake. Woo-hoo.
I'm sure if that was hard chocolate. So I've done it.
It was a fun one.
No. Oh, I'm worried.
Right.
That is awesome.
Oh, I can't cry.
Dollar!
Thank you so much to Aurelia for joining us today on the podcast episode.
Thank you so much to Danny for co-hosting as always.
And thank you as well, Tiff. Thank you to the Tradycja, just about, Polish food store situated on Clough Street, Hanley, for hosting us today. You can find them on Facebook. We'll put a link in the description of the video.
And as always, thank you so much to our listeners and viewers.
And viewers, yes. Thank you to the Stafford University Media Centre, podcast producer and production editor. We couldn't do it without you.
If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, then please send us a direct message on any form of our social media.
To find further support at university, you can visit staffs.ac.uk or your Student Connect team.
And don't forget to tell us what you think about the podcast so far. Please leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or leave a thumbs up or a comment if you're watching on YouTube.
And until the next episode, goodbye for now.
Bye.